But
Okay.
since you brought that up, I'm gonna start with this video here because this is an interesting video that a lot of people send me, and I think there's a lot to unpack with this video. And this is the brother. He's an actor. His name is
Oh yeah,
La-
Alonso something.
yeah, Laz Alonso, and he's of Cuban descent. I believe both of his parents are Cuban.
Yep.
But check this out. And fair use, by the way, this is fair use.
And it's like your kind of connection with the Black community, but you're Cuban. Like
I'm Black first.
Yeah,
I'm Black first.
So
what I always
ask,
tell
like,
people,
and so since I can't rewind it and stuff like that, I'm gonna just pause it here. I'm gonna deal with it piece by piece, piece by piece. So she's like, I hear you saying we when you're talking about the Black community, but you're Cuban. And his response was, yeah, but I'm Black first.
Period.
Now, I respect that. Let me remove this for a second. We're gonna go piece by piece with this video. I respect that. I know some people y'all just want to kick everybody that's not FBA out the whip, period, point blank. It don't matter. Me, I'm not on that type of shit. My thing is, if all of the Latinos and the Caribbeans and Africans had that attitude, we would not even have this problem.
Right.
We would not even have this discussion. There wouldn't even be a necessity to delineate.
Right.
Because somebody with that type of mindset is gonna be reinforcements. You know what I'm saying? And so if that was, not saying every single one of them, but if that was a part of the culture, if that was baked into the culture, if that's what we got from them on a normal basis, I would be perfectly fine with that. And I don't even think this whole delineation movement would have sprung up. I don't even think it would have been necessary.
Right. And I think a part of him being Black first is his experience is Black, because when people look at him, they see a Black person. So I believe that his experience is Black, and then every character he plays in his profession is a Black man. So I feel like maybe you have to be, or maybe it also could be his teachings. I don't want to take anything from his parents.
I was about to say, yeah. Obviously his experiences, but also he has a certain level of consciousness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, and it's interesting, the next video we will get to is on the opposite end of that. So yeah, that's interesting that you say that. But the next video will touch on that. All right, let's continue. And let me see. I see a few more of y'all piling on up in here, man. We got about 130 of y'all live in the chat. Make sure y'all hit the live button. I mean, the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Need everybody hit that like button. Appreciate y'all tuning in.
But how you identify yourself?
Are you full Cuban? I'm full Cuban.
I thought he was Black too.
I know,
but I am Black.
No, everyone thinks that you are like Black lineage.
All right, let me explain how it works. This is another thing that I feel like we as Black people get caught up in, that
semantics
that separates us as opposed to uniting us. We get caught up in where the ship dropped us off versus where the ship picked us up.
Mm-hmm. And so
we hear that a lot.
Right. That's why I had to stop it right there. Even though I don't feel like he's coming
from that perspective,
from really the perspective that we get a lot with that argument. But I had to pause it right there because we do get the ship dropped us off. We all the same. We get that argument all the time. And look, the thing about that is our ethnogenesis as foundational Black American descendants of freedmen is very similar, almost the same ethnogenesis that they had in the Caribbean and all across Latin America. So we're foundational Black Americans because we are an amalgamation of the indigenous people that were already here, people that were dropped off during the transatlantic slave trade, people that came way before that as explorers and all of that. We're an amalgamation of all of that. Same thing happened on those islands, right? There was Black indigenous people already there. There were people that were brought on slave ships, so on and so forth. And they became an amalgamation of that. And now they're Puerto Ricans. Now they're Cubans. Now they're Haitians. Now they're et cetera, et cetera. That was their ethnogenesis. Very similar to ours. The difference is, number one, the Europeans that they were colonized by. In this case, we're talking about Spain. You know what I'm saying? So they went about things way different than how they were carried out over here. That's one thing that was different about it. And also, well, that's the main thing. I'll just stick to that. That's the main thing that's different about it, because that's the reason why his argument about the separation doesn't apply to us, because we never looked at ourselves as separate from all of these other groups until recently. That's not a two-way thing. That's one thing I do have a problem with his argument, is that he paints it as a two-way thing.
And it's not. Never has been.
We all got to get out of this colonial mindset. We're the only ones that weren't getting down like that. We're the only ones that were on this Pan-African, we all the same, different boat shit. That was our natural, you know what I'm saying, mentality.
That's why we were okay with immigration policies, in the 60s and things like that, because again, we thought that they were going to come over here and be reinforcement as well. You know what I'm saying? For everything that we have been going through with the white supremacists. So we are assuming that you guys will come over here on some, we all black power, let's put our foot on these white supremacists next. And they did the total opposite. Now we not black. I know black.
Exactly. And so we are just now breaking ourselves out of that mindset, because it has been detrimental to us, when all of these other groups have been delineated and been on all of this separatism thing, and especially towards us. Like all of them have been decidedly anti-black. They got little rifts amongst each other as well. Don't get it fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the Caribbeans dump on the Haitians. You know what I'm saying? And they all bang on each other about their little differences and all that. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in New York, if you mistake a Jamaican person for a Trinidadian person, they're offended by that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Same thing with the Mexicans here, with the El Salvadorians or Guatemalans or something like that. You call a Guatemalan or El Salvadorian a Mexican, they get totally offended, and vice versa. It's the weirdest thing.
And so, again, yeah, they've been having this colonial mindset that he's talking about that created all of this division. But us delineating is not coming from a colonial mindset. It's coming from an empowerment mindset, because we realize that this Pan-African mindset has been a detriment to us. And so we're always looking for ways to empower ourselves. And when we see something that's not working, we do away with that and adopt something new.
Right.
And so us delineating is not coming from the white supremacists. It's not coming from no type of social engineering from the powers that be. This is something that we are doing from the ground up.
Right.
That's the difference. So let me let him continue.
You know what I'm saying? We all come from the same root. It's just a tree with different branches. The same boat that picked up your ancestors picked up my ancestors. Only they dropped yours off here. They made a pit stop in the Caribbean.
Oh, and that was the other point that I wanted to make. That was the other point that I wanted to make. Because I said one of the major difference is the way that the slavery and the colonialism was carried out in the Caribbean versus how it was carried out here. Because over there, they accepted the mulattoes as being a part of the family. You know what I'm saying? The French did that and the Spanish did that. And so they created those color caste systems, which we didn't have here. We were all the same in the same category. You know what I'm saying? And so we didn't have all of that color caste separation amongst us. But the other difference is that the majority of the people from the slave trade were dropped off in the Caribbean and in Latin America, not here.
Not here.
Only a very small percentage actually came to the United States. Something like 3%. A very, very small percentage of the people that were coming from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade ended up in the U.S. So the majority of us were already here. That's the difference between us and them also.
In and drop mine off. But my ancestors still dealt with slavery, still dealt with being, having their family and their lives ripped from them and having to come back from colonialism and slavery. So, and it's not just African Americans, it's Afro-Cubans, it's Afro-Dominicans, it's Afro-Puerto Ricans.
African Americans, he's talking about foundational Black Americans.
Black Americans, yeah.
And it's not us at all. I just explained that, but just to reiterate, it's not us at all. It's not a two-way street.
Like, all these people got to get out of their colonialized minds and stop thinking, oh, I'm not this, I'm this. Okay, yeah, you can be Latin,
And
but you're black first.
And the separatism that takes us apart when we all have the same struggle. We all experience the same
100%.
struggle.
Because when I walk into a room, they ain't thinking, oh, we're going to give him a pass because he's Latin.
Cuban, yeah.
Or if a cop pulls me over, he's not like, oh, okay, I'm not going to shoot him or I'm not going to beat his ass because he's Cuban. No.
Because you keep.
All right. So let's deal with that last part that he just said right there. So if I walk into a room, they're not going to give me a pass because I'm Latin. Not necessarily true. Depends on what type of room we're talking about.
Right.
Because we do know and understand that they prefer the non-FBAs. If they're going to have to, especially, you know, when they have to have these quotas, these DEI quotas and these, you know, minority quotas and all of that stuff, where they have to create this illusion of inclusion, they would prefer to get a melanated person who's non-FBA versus an FBA person. So if you're talking about which room you're talking about, because he's in Hollywood.
Right.
And so we see now they would prefer to get these black British people to play our icons than to get one of us.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it might not matter when you get pulled over on the side of the road. We all black, you're gonna get the same type of treatment. You know what I'm saying? Abner Lawima or Botham John or whoever, you know what I'm saying? All of these non-FBA people who got brutalized or lost their life at the hands of police, it didn't matter that they were non-FBAs. That's true. But there are some
John
rules.
didn't get pulled over though. He got killed in his house. So it, you know.
Right. But I'm just saying it was based off of his melanin, is what I'm saying. So yeah, in situations like that, yeah, we all going to get treated the same way. But it's not about how we all get treated by the white supremacists. It's about how do we respond to white supremacy. That's the difference.
Right. Right.
Foundational Black Americans, we have a different response when it comes to white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? We're all about justice, finding ways to dismantle the system. And when we talk about justice, we talk about justice for all. You know what I'm saying? That's our history. You know what I'm saying?
It has always been justice for all, but I think the issue that a lot of them are having right now is we're talking about justice for self first, right? Not to say that we've been very clear. Once we get our shit together, then we can come back, you know, and grab on to the hands of our brothers and sisters from other lineages. But right now, the fact that we are solely, you know, foundational Black American first, you know, when it comes to political reasons, reparations, and things like that, that's their problem. Because like you mentioned in the broadcast, we have a different fight than they have. Right. They assimilate, we fight. Right.
And so they upset about that. Oh, my son is texting me. I gotta go get 7 from the airport. That's why we on live early today. Yeah. I gotta pick up 7. My boy. But yeah, that's the reason why they have a problem with the delineation thing, because if we not fighting for them, who's gonna fight for them?
Right. Right. And Rhythm and Black made a good point in the chat. Botham John's brother, you know, asks if he can hug, you know, the red soldier that killed his brother. We're not doing that.
Right. Exactly. And by the way, ain't she about to get out or get some time reduced or something?
I know that she requested it. I thought it was denied.
I seen something recently in the news. I don't remember what it was, but there was some new developments in that case, by the way, that Amber Geiger. There was some new developments recently in that case, but I don't remember exactly what's going on with that. If any of y'all know, put it in the chat. But yeah. All right, cool. So let me go to this next video.